Have you ever been there? You're really trying to eat right, you pick all the quote-unquote healthy foods, and then, instead of feeling great, you just feel worse. It's so frustrating. Well, today, we're gonna solve that mystery. Okay, let's just dive right in. Picture this. You've just had a super nutritious meal. Maybe it was a salad packed with avocado and tomatoes, or some Greek yogurt for breakfast, and instead of feeling energized and good to go, you just feel off. It's confusing, right? Well, today, we are gonna get to the bottom of it. And let me tell you, you are not imagining things. These symptoms are incredibly real. It could be that sudden, uncomfortable bloating that makes you want to unbutton your pants. Or maybe it's a wave of anxiety that just washes over you, totally out of the blue. For some people, it's a nagging headache that starts to creep in. Or maybe your skin gets all flushed and itchy. And that feeling of being completely wiped out when you should be fueled up, yep, that's on the list too. If any of that sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. So, what is the secret link between all these healthy foods and these really strange symptoms? Well, the answer often comes down to one single word: histamine. This is the hidden player we need to get to know. Now hold on. Before you label histamine as the bad guy, it is so important to know that it's a totally natural and actually an essential compound. Your own body makes it. It helps your immune system, it helps with digestion, it even helps your brain work properly. It's one of the good guys doing really critical jobs for us all the time. So here's the twist. The issue isn't histamine itself. It's having a histamine overload. It really just comes down to quantity and balance. It's when you get more than your body can process at one time, that's when all those mystery symptoms start to show up. Okay, so if we're trying to avoid an overload, we've got to know where it's all coming from. So let's take a look at some of the most common foods where histamine loves to hide, often right in plain sight. So take a look at this list. See anything you might have eaten today? We've got stuff we all think of as healthy, fermented foods like sauerkraut and yogurt, tomatoes, avocado. But then there are also things like aged cheeses and a glass of wine. And pay attention to that last one, leftovers. We're gonna come back to that one because it's a huge clue in this whole mystery. And this right here gets to the absolute heart of it. The amount of histamine in a food isn't just about the food itself, but what's happened to that food. The common thread connecting all these things is really about process and time. Let's break that down a bit. So when you age cheese or ferment cabbage into sauerkraut, you're using bacteria to create all those delicious, complex flavors. Well, a natural side effect of that whole process is that the bacteria also create histamine. The very same thing happens with storage. The longer a food sits around, especially a protein, the more histamine can build up. Time is really the secret ingredient here. And this just shows it perfectly. A piece of chicken that you just cooked, it's gonna be low in histamine. But that exact same piece of chicken, after sitting in your fridge for 3 days, whoa, the histamine level has shot way up. Same thing with fish. Freshly caught as low, but canned or smoked fish that's been processed and stored is gonna be a whole lot higher. Okay, this brings us to what might be the most important idea for understanding why your reactions can feel so random and unpredictable. Let's talk about the tipping point. I want you to imagine, for a second, that your body's personal tolerance for histamine is like a bucket. Now, everyone's bucket is a different size, but the way it works is pretty much the same for all of us. So let's walk through a pretty typical day. You wake up in the morning and your bucket is mostly empty. Great. For breakfast, you have some yogurt, which adds a little bit of histamine in, no big deal. Then, for lunch, you have a big salad with some avocado and tomato, and that adds a little more. You're still feeling fine. But then, at dinner, you have a glass of wine and a little aged cheese. And that is just enough to make the bucket overflow. And that's the moment when the headache or the bloating or that wave of anxiety suddenly hits you. And this is the big aha moment. Your symptoms weren't really caused just by the wine and cheese. They were caused by the total buildup of histamine over the entire day. This explains everything. It's why you can eat an avocado one day and feel perfectly fine, but eat one the next day after you've had leftovers for lunch and suddenly you feel awful. It's all about that tipping point. So now that we kind of get the what and the why, let's talk about the how. How can you start to figure out what your own personal histamine bucket looks like? Well, it's time to become your own food detective. Look, this is not about getting scared of food or feeling restricted. It's actually about empowerment. Your body is giving you feedback all the time. The real goal here is to just start listening a little more closely to what it's trying to tell you. And, one of the most powerful ways to do this is with a simple food and symptom diary. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just jot down what you eat, and when you eat it. Then, make a little note of any of those mystery symptoms and what time they showed up. After a week or so, you can look back and you might start to see patterns you would have never ever noticed before. And hey, if you're looking for just one simple strategy to start with, here is a top tip from doctors in this field. Prioritize freshness. Just remember that time is the key factor in how much histamine develops. So, choosing freshly cooked meals over leftovers that have been sitting for a few days can make a huge, huge difference in your total daily load. And I really want to land this point. Your histamine bucket is unique to you. This is not a list of bad foods that you have to avoid for the rest of your life. Not at all. It's just a guide to help you understand your own body better so you can make choices that help you feel your best without cutting out foods you love for no reason. So the next time you eat, just take a moment. Pay attention to how you feel afterwards. This knowledge is a tool, and it puts you right back in the driver's seat of your own health. So the only real question left is, what is your body trying to tell you?